almost 20 years, the world believed one love story in Hollywood was untouchable.
A glamorous Oscar-winning actress. A charming country music superstar.
Red carpets, love songs, fairy tale interviews, the kind of relationship people pointed to and said, "See, real love still exists in Hollywood." But what if that perfect story was never as perfect as it looked? What if behind the cameras, the applause, and the carefully curated Instagram smiles, something was quietly falling apart? And now, after months of rumors, whispers, and suspicious silence, one man has finally spoken. Keith Urban. Yes, that Keith Urban. The devoted husband. The romantic songwriter who once publicly thanked his wife for saving his life. The man who built an entire image around loyalty and love for Nicole Kidman. But in a moment no one saw coming, Keith dropped a confession that stunned fans across the internet. 3 brutal words. "I blew it."
Not rumors. Not speculation.
A direct admission. Suddenly, the internet exploded with questions. What exactly did he mean? What really happened inside one of Hollywood's most admired marriages? And why are people now digging into old tour footage, backstage moments, and one mysterious name that keeps popping up everywhere? Because the deeper this story goes, the messier it gets. And trust me, this is only the beginning. The moment that confession surfaced, people across the internet started asking the same question. What really happened between Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman? Because for nearly 2 decades, their relationship looked like the rare Hollywood miracle that actually worked.
Think about it.
An Oscar-winning actress who had already survived one of the most public divorces in celebrity history. And a country music superstar who openly battled personal demons before finding stability. When they came together in the mid-2000s, it didn't just look romantic, it looked redemptive. To the public, their love story felt almost cinematic.
They met in 2005. Sparks flew quickly.
Within a year, they were standing at the altar in Sydney, surrounded by cameras, celebrities, and headlines declaring the birth of a new Hollywood power couple. Fans watched as Nicole Kidman walked down the aisle in a breathtaking gown while Keith Urban performed music during the celebrations like a man completely mesmerized by his bride. And from that moment on, the image of their marriage became almost legendary.
Award shows. Hand-holding on red carpets.
Interviews filled with glowing admiration. Everywhere they went, they looked inseparable. Keith often spoke about Nicole like she was the anchor that saved him. In interviews, he credited her with helping him stay grounded during some of the most difficult chapters of his life. At one point, he even publicly thanked her for standing beside him during his battle with addiction, saying she had quite literally changed the direction of his life. Fans loved it. In an industry known for breakups and betrayals, the Urban-Kidman marriage felt like proof that genuine love could survive fame.
But here's the thing about perfect images.
Sometimes they are just that, images. Because while the public saw candlelit anniversary posts and affectionate red carpet kisses, insiders say something else was quietly happening behind the scenes.
Distance. A lot of it.
Nicole Kidman was one of the most in-demand actresses in the world, constantly traveling between film sets in Europe, Australia, and the United States. Months could pass while she worked overseas on major productions. Meanwhile, Keith Urban lived an entirely different kind of chaos.
Tour buses. Concert arenas.
Endless travel from city to city.
Some weeks he performed in 3 or 4 different states.
Other times he was flying across continents for music festivals and award shows. The life of a global touring musician doesn't exactly leave room for quiet family dinners.
Friends say the couple tried to make it work. There were carefully planned reunions.
Quick family vacations squeezed between film shoots and tour dates. And of course, those social media posts that reassured fans everything was still magical. But behind the scenes, the schedules were becoming impossible to manage. Imagine 2 people living 2 completely different lives, constantly moving in opposite directions. At first, they brushed it off as the price of success. Then slowly, the distance stopped feeling temporary. And that's when observers began noticing subtle shifts. The playful chemistry that once defined their public appearances started fading. Interviews that used to include jokes and affectionate teasing suddenly became shorter, quieter. Sometimes Nicole Kidman would appear alone at events where Keith once stood proudly beside her. Other times, Keith Urban showed up to industry gatherings without his wife, offering vague explanations about scheduling conflicts. Fans didn't panic at first. After all, this was a couple everyone trusted. But insiders say by early 2025, something had clearly changed. Sources close to the pair claim they had already begun spending long stretches apart, far longer than usual.
Separate routines. Separate homes during certain periods.
quiet adjustments that the public didn't notice at the time.
And then there was one more detail that raised eyebrows.
The emotional dynamic of the relationship itself. For years, Keith had openly admitted how much he relied on Nicole's support. He praised her in interviews, thanked her in award speeches, even credited her for helping him stay focused during difficult personal struggles. At first, that devotion sounded romantic. But over time, some close observers began to wonder if the balance of the relationship had quietly shifted. Because when one partner becomes the emotional foundation for the other, the pressure can be enormous. And according to several people who claim to know the couple, that pressure may have been building for years.
Still, the public knew none of this.
To millions of fans watching from the outside, Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman were still the gold standard of celebrity marriage. Until suddenly, everything changed.
But the real storm didn't start with a press conference. It didn't begin with a divorce filing either. It started with whispers.
Quiet, almost dismissible whispers that slowly turned into a wave of speculation spreading across social media like wildfire. Because the moment fans realized something was off between Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman, the internet did what the internet always does.
It started digging.
Old concert footage suddenly resurfaced online. Clips from backstage moments. Fan-recorded videos from tour stops that, at the time, seemed completely harmless.
But now people were rewatching them with a very different perspective.
And one name kept appearing in the conversation.
Maggie Ball.
A young guitarist who had been performing alongside Keith during several tour dates. At first, she was simply part of the band, one of many musicians sharing the stage. But once rumors began circulating, fans started examining every interaction between them like detectives analyzing evidence. One video in particular spread across platforms at lightning speed. In the clip, Keith is performing on stage, moving across the spotlight while the band plays behind him. Then, during a moment in the song, he walks over toward Maggie, smiling, leaning closer as they share the spotlight. At the time, it looked like normal stage chemistry.
But now, suddenly people were asking questions.
Why did he seem so focused on her during certain performances? Why did the camera catch them exchanging what looked like inside jokes during live shows? And why did a few fans claim that during one performance of his hit song The Fighter, Keith appeared to slip her name into the lyrics?
The internet went into full detective mode. Fans slowed down the footage.
Lip readers claimed they could hear subtle changes in the words. Comment sections exploded with theories. Was it just playful stage banter? Or something more?
Soon the rumors became impossible to ignore.
Even more intriguing was the reaction. Or rather, the lack of one. Neither Keith Urban nor Maggie Ball addressed the speculation publicly.
No clear denial. No statement shutting down the gossip.
And in celebrity culture, silence can sometimes speak louder than words. Meanwhile, sources close to Nicole Kidman began quietly painting a different picture of what had been happening behind closed doors. According to several anonymous insiders, Nicole had been trying to hold the marriage together even as things started unraveling. Friends claimed she made adjustments to her filming schedule whenever possible, prioritizing time with family and attempting to create stability for their daughters. But while she was trying to keep things grounded, the distance between her and Keith reportedly continued to grow. By the summer of 2025, some sources suggested the couple had already begun living separate lives.
Different routines.
Different homes during certain stretches, different emotional worlds.
To the public, everything still looked mostly normal.
But inside their private reality, the cracks had become impossible to ignore. And then, on September 30th, 2025, the moment that confirmed everyone's suspicions finally arrived. Nicole Kidman officially filed for divorce. The fairy-tale marriage that fans had celebrated for nearly 2 decades was over. But the biggest shock was still waiting. Because just as the headlines began circulating around the world, Keith Urban stepped forward with a confession that made the entire situation even more explosive. 3 words that instantly changed the narrative.
I blew it.
And just like that, the story changed overnight. Because celebrity divorces are nothing new in Hollywood.
They happen all the time.
Carefully worded statements, polite explanations about growing apart, and a quiet separation that eventually fades from the headlines. But this situation was different. Because instead of vague PR language or mysterious silence, Keith Urban did something most celebrities rarely do.
He took the blame.
During a candid moment that quickly spread across entertainment media, Keith delivered a statement that shocked fans around the world.
No complicated explanations.
No attempt to shift responsibility.
Just a blunt admission.
I blew it to smithereens. 3 words that instantly transformed the narrative surrounding his marriage with Nicole Kidman. Suddenly the questions weren't just about distance or busy schedules anymore. Now the internet was trying to decode what exactly Keith meant by that confession.
Did it mean he made personal mistakes? Did it mean the rumors about a third person had some truth behind them?
Or was it simply the weight of years of pressure finally collapsing under the spotlight? The speculation exploded. Entertainment blogs began digging through old interviews. Fans revisited past award shows, analyzing body language between the couple during their final public appearances together. Some even pointed back to emotional speeches Keith gave years earlier, including a moment where he publicly thanked Nicole for saving his life.
At the time, it sounded like romantic devotion. Now, some observers wondered if it hinted at something deeper.
A relationship dynamic where one partner was carrying more emotional weight than the other.
Meanwhile, Nicole Kidman chose a very different path: silence. No dramatic interviews. No public blame.
No social media statements addressing the rumors swirling around the breakup. Instead, she focused on what mattered most: her daughters, Sunday Rose and Faith Margaret. Friends close to the actress described her as calm but deeply disappointed, choosing privacy over spectacle while the world dissected every detail of her personal life. In fact, when she made her first major appearance after the split, it wasn't at a press conference or a talk show.
It was during Paris Fashion Week.
Walking confidently alongside her daughters, Nicole appeared composed, almost defiant in her quiet strength. Photos from the event quickly circulated online, with fans praising her grace in the face of such a public heartbreak.
But the internet, of course, was far less calm.
Debates erupted across social media platforms. Some fans defended Keith, arguing that honesty, even painful honesty, deserved respect. Others felt the confession only confirmed their worst suspicions about what might have happened behind the scenes.
And the rumors about Maggie Ball?
Those refused to disappear. Every new tour video, every backstage photo, every interaction captured on camera was instantly analyzed by viewers convinced there was more to the story than anyone was admitting. Yet despite all the noise, one fact remained undeniable. The marriage that once symbolized hope in an industry famous for broken relationships had come to an end.
Nearly 20 years of shared memories. 2 daughters.
A love story that once looked unshakable.
Gone.
And perhaps the most haunting part of this entire saga is the man at the center of it all, Keith Urban, openly admitting that whatever went wrong, he believes it was his fault. Which leaves one lingering question that fans still can't stop asking.
If he knew what he was risking, why did it happen at all?
The collapse of this once-admired marriage has left fans around the world stunned. For nearly 2 decades, people looked at Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman as proof that love in the spotlight could actually survive. Red carpets, emotional speeches, love songs dedicated to a wife who seemed to be his greatest supporter, it all looked so real.
And yet, here we are.
A relationship that once felt unbreakable has ended with a confession that still echoes across the internet. I blew it.
Was it simply the crushing pressure of fame?
Was it the endless distance between Hollywood film sets and global concert tours? Or were there deeper secrets hidden behind the perfect image fans believed for so many years?
And what about the rumors that refused to disappear?
The speculation surrounding Maggie Ball continues to circulate online, with fans dissecting every clip and performance involving Keith Urban.
Some believe the connection was innocent stage chemistry.
Others are convinced there's a bigger story that hasn't fully surfaced yet. Meanwhile, Nicole Kidman appears focused on rebuilding her life, prioritizing her daughters, and maintaining the same quiet strength she's shown throughout some of the most public moments of her career.
But the bigger question remains.
If a relationship like this, 2 global superstars, nearly 20 years of marriage, shared family, shared history, could still fall apart, what does that say about the pressures of fame, success, and life in the spotlight?
Was this breakup inevitable from the beginning? Or could things have turned out differently if certain choices had been made along the way?
That's the mystery people are still debating.
Now we want to hear from you.
Do you think Keith Urban was truly responsible for the collapse of this marriage? Do you believe the rumors about Maggie Ball played a bigger role than anyone is admitting? Or was this simply the tragic reality of 2 incredibly busy lives drifting too far apart? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this story has sparked one of the biggest celebrity debates online. And if you enjoy deep dives into the hidden stories behind Hollywood headlines, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next investigation. Because trust me, in the world of celebrity drama, the truth is rarely as simple as it seems.